Welcome to our live stream. This is our weekly lesson. Today's topic is about age, and I brought us outside today. The weather has dried up. We had a big storm here on the island for about 24 hours, a little over 24 hours. A lot of flooding in the city, but we went down today and checked it out, and they're cleaning it up. But I thought it would be nice because when I go back to Germany, it will be cold and dark, that we get a little bit of vitamin D together. So welcome to everyone who's already here. I see that multiple people have already joined. If you have no clue who I am, I'm Jen, and I offer a weekly lesson on YouTube and on Instagram. And if you're looking to learn English, if you're looking for a community to practice it, I offer you idioms, vocabulary, conversation questions. Every week, like I said, a new topic. I'm your gal. Our community is amazing, amazing, amazing. So yeah, then welcome. Welcome to everyone who joins us regularly, and welcome to everyone. Hello, Yuki. Hello, Karina. Hello, Alessio. Hello, Serena, dear. Welcome to everyone. Hello, Daneth. Welcome. So let's pop into our first question, and let's see what we've got, because I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Hey, Kaluna. Hey, Natalia. Awesome. Cool. We've got a lot of people on board already here with us. And I'm going to pop over to this side of the screen and reveal our first question. So, would you like to live to be 100? Hello, Alex. I was rushing, but I succeeded. Yay, Alex. No stress though here. Yeah, happy to have you here. So would you like to live to be 100? Yes, no, not sure. And what are the pros and cons of living so long? Hey, Yelena, welcome, dear. So what can you tell me? Pros and cons of living to be 100. Would you like that? Would you not like it? Hello, Lorena. Thank you, everyone, for saying hi as well, because it's nice to know who's in our audience. And yeah, and then I can kind of address you. Yeah, so what can you tell me? Would you like to live to 100? I think that for me, I'm not so sure. I think it depends on how healthy I am. Like, I think if I'm sitting in a wheelchair and can't move around and can't remember who the people are that I love, no thank you. Yeah, Yuki's saying no thanks, 100 is way too long. But I think if I'm healthy, if I'm fit, if I'm able to move around, then maybe that'd be nice. Hey, Nick, we missed you yesterday. Welcome back, sweets. All right. So, Nick, you're young. Would you like to live to be 100? Alessio says, also depends on how healthy I am. Yeah, like I would want to be able to do things and see things and walk around. Lorena says, absolutely not. Karina, not me. Yelena, no, I don't like living till 100. And it's strange, though, because we have so many people who are fixated on this idea of living to 100, 120, 130. I can't imagine it either. I would think that a lot of young people, so Nick, I think you're the youngest member of our audience. Do you want to live to be 100? Because I think when I was in my early 20s, I was like, yeah, I want to live to be 100. And now, no, not for you. Okay. But I think that the more life you experience, the more you're like, yeah, at some point it's okay, maybe. It's good. Not yet. Knock on wood, right? Knock on wood. Gotta have good luck here. So, Kaluna, my dear, what do you have to say? Let's see. So, not sure for me, for health reasons, and mostly at that age, health is fragile. Very good vocabulary word, fragile, when something can break easily. But it is a positive, but on a positive note, it would be awesome to experience the world for that long. True, right? Imagine. So if we go back in time 100 years from now in 1925, all of the changes that people have experienced in 100 years. And I guess technologically wise, we will experience, maybe even climate wise, a lot in the next 100 years. All right. A big yes from Alex, but it depends on health status and general abilities. Serena, I don't know. Now I say no, but I really don't know. Living long requires money. That's true too, Yuki. That's a big thing. Yeah, I'm not allowed to live till next week, actually. If we're talking about money, yeah, actually, I like 10 hours tops. That's it. So yeah, money, it's a factor of money. It's a health, it's money, it's interest. You have to stay curious and have, yeah. And maybe the next 100 years, people are on Mars. Yeah, maybe that will be in our future. Exactly. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys, for participating in our little warm up question here. And I have another poll question that I'm very curious to hear how you answer. So I'll stay right where I am and grab our next question. And let's see. So next poll question. Life is hard for young people. So for a centenarian, it's even harder. I would think so too. All right, next question. Here we go. Do you usually tell people your exact age? Yes, no, sometimes. And as a two follow-up questions, is it acceptable to ask someone their age in your country? And have you ever lied about your age and why? So do you usually and tell your correct age and the other things too? Hello, Miranda, darling. Welcome. So let's see. Alex, for a few days ago, the one elderly lady said 90 years and enough, but I think she's already around 90. You might want to check in on her. All right. So yes, you usually tell people your exact age. Yeah. Miranda, what about you? Yes. See, sometimes. Ooh, Natalia, do tell. Yes, why not? Yes, 57, saying it loud and proud. Miranda's 35. Okay, Carmen says A. So we have a lot of very honest people here who do not lie about their age. I think I'm going to lie forward. I'm going to tell people I'm like 67, and then they'll think I look amazing for my age. I think you should lie forward. Most people try to make themselves younger. So if you're going to lie forward. Yes, I don't have any hesitation to tell my age because it's just a number. Age is not a shame. Yeah, we're lucky the older that we get. Yes, when people ask me, I tell them the truth. For me, it's okay to ask, but it's the fact that we can't run away. So 53, 57, I'm 53. So we have a nice sort of mix. Nick, I can't remember how old you are. I want to say that you're 20. So we have 53, 57. Let me get other ages that people have offered. 57. Yeah, okay, those are the only ages we have so far. Okay, but that's fine. You don't have to tell me. But like in the American culture, it's actually impolite. Natalia, you're 37. Yelena, 56. So, sorry. In the American culture, it's actually impolite to ask a person their age, especially women. So, people always ask me on Instagram when I'm on Ewa, how old are you? And I don't really care telling people how old I am, but it always, for a second, I have to be like, that's actually kind of a rude question in my culture. So that's why I have this here. Is it rude to do that? And I have lied about my age before when I was in the States. The drinking age is 21. So you can't go to a bar, you can't go to a cool club, and any of that kind of stuff unless you're 21. So I had a fake ID. I did. Hello, Michaela, darling. Born in 2021. Okay, so you're 24 then. I can do that math. Kaluna's 30. All right. So I love that we have sort of a mix of different ages here. It's wonderful to have that. I always say the truth about age without hesitating, but I don't ask for other ages because I think it's a private thing. So Alex, is that something that has to do within your culture? Yeah. So I was talking once online, just audio, when was saying over 30, they were like, you have a young voice. Do you not know that what they thought 30 years old sounds Old? I was like, is that old? Yes, exactly. Michaela, 55, cool. Okay, so we have a lot of our people in their 50s. We have some in their 30s, and we have one in their 20s. I don't mind telling my age, but I don't get why people are so interested in other people's age, a person's ages. Yes, me too. Yeah, especially like if like when I'm on EWA and I'm teaching a lesson, it's like that is the most random thing. We're talking about, I don't know, okay, age makes sense, but talking about social skills or something of that nature. Yeah. So let's use 50. Okay, I thought you were younger. I thought you were still in your 40s. So maybe you just had a birthday. All right. So then let's see. Let's move on. And yesterday we had the situation where we brainstormed about stereotypes. No one's in their 40s. It doesn't seem like it, Yuki. We have one in their 20s, several in their 30s, and multiple in their 50s. I'm in my middle 50s, right? Yeah, mid 50s. Yeah, exactly. 50, Serena. Okay. We have to find some more people who have some 40s. No, we're fine with the people we have. Okay, so let's see. My question to you, yesterday we started brainstorming about stereotypes about young people. And so I thought it would be fun to brainstorm about stereotypes that exist about old people. So let me pull up my first question here so you have it. And just as a reminder, a stereotype is something that people typically believe about other people or cultures, and there might be some truth in it, but it's not a fact. So for example, like when I think of French people, then I think about, people wearing a beret and having striped shirts and having a baguette under their arm. I know if I have any French people in the audience, I apologize for that pronunciation. But yeah. So basically, these are things that obviously not every French person is going to wear a striped shirt. Not every French person is going to wear a beret or have a baguette, but maybe some do. So this is a stereotype. And so this is also now coming up with stereotypes that we have about elderly people. Yesterday we had younger people or youth, and we said that some people said that they were lazy maybe, or completely obsessed with technology, good with technology. We used the word tech savvy, meaning that they're good at technology. But what can you tell me about stereotypes for elderly people? And yeah, so what do you think the good and the bad things, the good positive stereotypes and the negative stereotypes? What can you tell me? And nobody's writing, or maybe people are writing and they have a lot to say. Because if you don't have anything to say, that's not a problem. I have a slide prepared for us, so we can hop into our slide if you like. So often hear that elderly people are like small children. Okay, yeah, kind of we revert to our childhood in a way. We need to be taken care of again. In our place, stereotype of elderly people about elderly people is that they are more strict in terms of values or morals. So that's one of the words that I have here. So maybe like more traditional, right? Hello. You've just heard me mispronounce baguette. I'm sorry, sweetie. Hi, Leticia, sweetie. Welcome. Wonderful to have you here. So they are patient. Okay. So in this case, you would say they speak patiently. They cook or they work on things patiently, or they are, as an adjective, you would just say patient. Super mistake, Alex. Thank you. Elderly lady wearing skirts more than younger ladies. Okay, stereotype. Technology, young people are so fast with technology. They have good life experiences. All right. So let me see. I'm going to pull up some more words that they do not have energy like young people, but what I see are more energetic than at least me. Yeah. Some elderly people have a lot going on. Hi, Teresa. Welcome, dear. Elderly people are miserable. That's a stereotype. Clearly, not every elderly person is miserable. Some are, but so are some people in their youth. All right. So let's pull up an image, and I have some vocab words to share with you. to maybe add a little bit more to our repertoire here. Elderly take more time. The elderly take more time to do things. They're traditional, conservative. One stereotype is that they are closed-minded. Yes, you can say closed-minded, small-minded. Closed-minded is a good one. All right, so positive ones, usually not so good in technology. Yes, that's how I know I am inching my way towards being elderly. I cannot deal with technology. They are open-minded. They are closed-minded towards new things. Okay, they are slow. All right, these are definitely stereotypes that one could say about elderly people. They get along well with children. Grandparents are precious, hopefully, right? My ex-parents-in-law, not so much. Stereotype, unfortunately, did not work for them. But moving on. So here are some positive traits, potential stereotypes that are positive about elderly people. We could say they're wise. They are reliable, nurturing, generous, traditional, and disciplined. Maybe. I think as an elderly person, I also won't be disciplined. Like if there's medication I have to take, I'll be like, I'll take it today, or maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm not going to be a very good elderly person. Elderly have more knowledge and experience. Hopefully, so that could go into wise, like the definition of wise as well. So if any of these words are unclear, or if you would like to take a moment to define them, this is your opportunity to use your language. Feel free to do so. I will hop on to negative traits. Forgetful, stubborn, like they don't budge. They're like, nope. That's not gonna happen. Okay, grumpy, Natalia, thank you for asking. Grumpy is when someone is in a bad mood. You have people that wake up and they're automatically in a bad mood. They're grumpy. And in fact, there was a movie out in, I think, the 90s, Grumpy Old Men. So like grumpy is like a typical adjective that we use for teenagers and for the elderly. Interesting, huh? So usually like in a bad mood, everything is wrong, nothing is good. So that's a stereotype that could be a negative one that one could assign perhaps to someone who is elderly. Elderly people cry very often. Okay. Okay, I cry all the time. So old-fashioned, resistant to change. No, don't bring anything new. I don't want to hear it. So resistant to change, maybe that is something that also could be assigned. By the way, my first love is 22 years older than me. Wow. Okay. We'll talk about that later. Okay. Nick, hang in there because we're going to have questions that are age related, and that's absolutely one of the questions we have. Renata, darling, good morning, sweetie. Welcome to you in Florida. All right, so let's move on and let's do a little brainstorming activity. I have another slide for us. And let me see what I can, let me get rid of this. I have to scroll down a little bit. The elderly are more sensitive to too much noise. Yeah, to noise. They prefer a peaceful place. And I also notice for myself nowadays, if I'm driving in the car and I need to concentrate, I have to turn the sound down. Like if I need to park or I need to concentrate, I'm like, eh. It used to be turn it up, right? And now it's like, nah. I need silence. I need to concentrate. So another step closer to being elderly. They are resilient. Very, very good word. Absolutely great word. Okay, so let me pull up this next slide for us, because let's take a look at the different stages that we have in life, right? Because I think that's an interesting thing in brainstorm a little bit. My elderly patients have zero patience. Hey, Manuel, welcome. From the best sun-drenched island in the middle of the pond, Manuel here. Hello, Manuel. I think, weren't you on Tenerife? I think that's where you were. I can't remember. I remember you from last week, but I can't remember. So yes, and I'm on the island. I'm on Ibiza at the moment. So probably not so far away. Hello, Juan Carlos. We have a full house today. This is wonderful. Very nice. And Nitoko, now it's a full house. Okay, me too. I need silence in critical situations for sure, right? Like, I'm always super surprised. Peter can be one of these people that multitasks. Like, he's paying bills, booking flights, doing stuff for work, and he has a podcast going on. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I need to concentrate. I can't have anything on at all. I am, yeah, anyway. I don't agree, but a stereotype is that they are no longer productive. Okay, yeah, I don't agree as well. Michaela, I totally see your point, but that is a stereotype that is not really fair. Baby sleeping and dragging on the floor. Aha, okay, you're already on it. Ibiza has wonderful fresh figs. They do, and we have pomegranates that we need to harvest. So maybe I'll do a little video about that later. All right, so which are the typical activities? Manuel has us in full swing here, keeping us on track. What are the typical activities or responsibilities at each of these stages of life? Let's start with baby. What are the typical things? I have about 6 things here. So I'm going to give us like 2 minutes. I still need music. Hey, Carmen, cool. This is so wonderful. Child, okay, so let's start with baby, and then Manuel, I'll come back to your child. I'm giving us 2 minutes to come up with activities and responsibilities for each of these stages in life. So baby is the first one. Here is my stopwatch. Let me turn on the alarm, or no, hold on. There we go, timer. Let's do about 2 minutes for each of these sections, starting with a baby. What are their responsibilities and what are the things that they learn? Baby learning and development. All right, I'm going to read manuals again. Hold on, let me find that. Sleeping and dragging on the floor. And when you say dragging on the floor, I think you mean crawling. I'll put it in the comments here. Crawling. And I just had this video on YouTube, on Instagram, that was suggested to me with all the different styles of crawling. Like some babies crawl on their butts, like sitting like this. Some like sort of little army guys. Some, the normal way. It's very funny to see the different styles of crawling that are out there. So cry, sleep, drink, smile, sleep. Yeah. Baby should be fed, diapers changed, interacted with, be positive around, give security. All righty. Baby exploring objects with mouth and hands. Oh, yeah. My son did this for like the first almost year. He constantly put stuff in his mouth. I was on alert 24/7 when he was up. Medical checkups, immunizations. Thank you, Renata. Depending on parents' views, very diplomatically said. Babies cry, smile, Okay, I hope that this is working. I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. Thank you for staying. Those of you who've chosen to stay. Yeah. All right, let's see. Runaway teacher. Exactly. Yeah, it's always the same. My internet out here failed. I hope it's going to stay. It seems like we have this problem every once in a while. Blacked out screen, live stopped. Okay, so I'm going to go back to your comments. Thank you for your patience with me. And now let me pull up the slide again because that also disappeared. So let's see, because I had to restart everything. And I think that was slide 4 exactly. And I will pop over here so you can see the slide okay. Aye. Frozen in time. Yes. So we were on the topic of child now because we talked about baby. A couple of things with babies that might be good English sort of boosters here is that, hold on, is that babies crawl and walk. That's kind of their responsibilities. Say first words, develop basic motor skills. So like when you see a baby and they move in sort of a jerky manner like this, they have to learn how to use their hands and to be able to turn things and to use them. So those are motor skills, like in an engine kind of a motor. All right, what about child? I have some people that have already written about children. Let's see. Manuel, you are already on adult. Let's see. Scrolling up, teenager, you've done. Child, go out every now and then and plugged on the internet. Okay, that's not really their responsibility. That's what they do. Let's see. Anybody else with child? Let's see. Exploring object. That was that. Let me see. Anybody else? Child. Aha, Kaluna. Learning and basic values in life, basic education and interaction. All right. Child. Looking for that. Jen's internet failed. It sure did. So internet failed is the bread and butter every now and then. It's what happens, right? Press F5. Okay. I will try that next time. No, that's the microphone on my computer. I don't think that it was a microphone. So let's see. Nothing at all. Child. Should we wait? Should we leave? Wait. Looking for child. Working now. Thank you for all your welcome backs. Thank you for your patience. Thank you. We'll back to the drawing board. Exactly. What about children? So, Juan Carlos, playing, going to kindergarten. Children must learn to live in society. Yeah, social skills, absolutely. Saying no to everything, 2-year-olds, exactly. No, go to kindergarten, go to school, child socializing with others, get educated, helping parents, very important. Children watch and learn around the world themselves. They learn by modeling. Yeah. And mirroring too. So if a child experiences really kind parents, then they probably will be kind as well. Learn distinctions of good and bad behaviors. Into the world being alive and kicking is a miracle. Definitely. Their main activities are playing games and the learning process. A child has to learn to engage, maybe to interact. I think that is interact. Typo. There we go. Typo. Interact with his peers. Children fighting just because 3 wise men left nothing. Okay. They observe and learning to read and write. Absolutely. Go to school, make friends, read and write. The responsibility of a child, following rules, routines, helping at home, making some choices, developing hobbies, finding out what their interests are. That's a great time for children to learn that. Do they like soccer? Do they like singing? Do they like dancing? Yeah, okay, y'all all covered it. Very, very good. All right, let's move on. Thank you, Emmanuel. We're moving on to teenagers, actually. So tell me about teenagers. Children learn to read, write, and count and prepare to become adults. Children are little people. Teenager, thank you, Kaluna. Here we go. They should learn to be responsible in decision making, especially peer pressure is so strong at this age. Yeah, right? And actually, around the time that a teen that for in the late teens, parents are kind of done. The teenagers don't typically listen to their parents anymore. It's more about what their friends have to say than what you have to say, at least in the Western culture. And let me hide crawling. Teenagers must learn to be responsible. Definitely. Anything else that you can tell me during this time of development for teenagers? What else? I will try to scroll up because I know, Manuel, you've already covered teenagers. So where was that? That was children. That was this. It's easy to find you because you have a green. You and Alessio have internet failed. That was before that. You were faster. Let's see. That was senior. Okay, adults. Teenagers addicted to styles, to new styles, looking for a hook at any time. Okay, so teenagers, what else can you tell me? Be mindful and careful to think about further profession. Teenagers have to cope with their emotions, right? Hello, Martha. Lizette, hello. Nice to see you. Teenagers must work on being frustrated. Yeah, their emotions make them so frustrated. I'm sort of in this perimenopausal time. I feel like a teenager sometimes. My emotions are like, so emotional development happens during the teenage years. Hello to you, Pankaj. Welcome. Taking care of themselves, taking first mature decisions, dealing with hormones and emotions, to believe in themselves. It's a time period, Serena, right? That is so, it's hard, really insecure time. Being mindful and careful to think about the future. Okay. Yeah. So do I have anything else? They go to high school or secondary school. They start to explore independence and their personal identity, develop social and romantic relationships. It might be the time that you have your first love. Participate in extracurricular sports, and also maybe learning more responsibility. Maybe they have a part-time job and that kind of thing and earn their own money for the first time. And let's see, I remember my teenage period, not quite nice. Same. Let's see. So I'll read, Manuel, yours in 2 seconds. Teenagers must build their professional future. That was that. Creating a self-concept, their identity. Teenagers must learn to listen to their parents. They should begin to know the real world and control their emotions. Yes, teenagers desire more independence. Teenagers learn how to be responsible, make deep connections with friends. All right, and what can you tell me about adults? Karina, have a look. Your writing must? I don't know what that means. So what can you tell me about adults? I will scroll up because I think that Manuel has already written to us about adults. So adults in their 20s, still living with their parents, no money for a mortgage or being independent due to the lack of accommodation, right? And I would also say, Manuel, lack of being paid what people used to be paid. People used to be able to survive on a one person earning money, but nowadays people have to work multiple jobs, and typically both people in the relationship have to work. So it's not easy today, I think, for children, for young adults, for adults to have the sort of independence that they might have had once. Adults dream to go back to their childhood, right? Adults have to earn money. Adults to be independent, or work-life balance, exactly. Deal with mental health, for sure. What else? Being an adult is hard, right? And Lizette, we have this funny expression that has come about, I would say, in like the last 5 years. It used to not be something that was so big, but like adulting, to use this as like in this sort of way, adulting is difficult. So being an adult, adulting is hard. Pankaj, left in the world and no more family to support as in the past priorly. Creating their families, taking care of financial independence, of a cell of society. Do you mean like as like a part of society maybe? Or I'm not sure what you mean exactly, Natalia. Learn how to live in this world. Yeah. You have a responsibility now, both legally and to yourself. Adults have responsibility only. raise family, make long-term decisions. So before, when you were a teenager, you were making kind of semi short term, but also long term, I guess, if you wanted to study something. But now it's even more important. Adults, they took control of their lives. They have to be responsible for their decisions. Exactly. Okay. And what about for seniors? What can you tell me for seniors? So people over 65, I think, is a senior. I don't know. What kind of responsibilities and activities do we have in this at this stage in our lives? Until the frontal cortex, Carmen, here we go, is fully developed, young adults have to learn social skills and figure out which life aims they have. And I think that our society, at least, doesn't really help them in that too terribly much. They have, you go to school and you have to learn certain things, and your worth is really defined by if you're good in school or not good in school. And that can be kind of difficult for a lot of kids that aren't amazing in school. Kaluna says seniors. The senior, be cautious about their health, spend time with family and friends, reflect more about what their life achievements, about what are achievements. Okay, super. Adults must be responsible and very emotionally strong if they have children. They do, but not all of us are. Yeah, it's a work in progress. And let's see. Adults have their routine. They should be aware of responsibility. They give effort for many areas in life. Lorena, seniors have to enjoy their retirement, receiving a pension. I agree. Carmen, do you by any chance know at what age the frontal cortex is developed? I bet Renata does. I want to say it's like 24, 21, 24, something like that, when the frontal cortex is fully developed. Take care of their health, stay sharp, mentally and physically active, very important for our seniors. Career, family life, identity, consolidation, I guess it's adult. Natalia, people in this day and age are prone to be independent and single. Tie the knot is difficult to come by. They free themselves would be the motto, to stay free. Okay. Adult has to have something to live for. Can be anything. Yeah. Could be your children or your friends or your community. Absolutely. I just see a lot of people, I think this is a very common thing, that identify their entire worth in their job. And then when they retire, then there's this big vacuum, this big void. There's nothingness because they have to figure out their new identity. So, okay. So thank you. Hold on. So prone to being independent. So 25 to 30 is when the frontal cortex is fully developed. So that's why my 24-year-old can still make stupid decisions. Yeah. I'm kidding. Not kidding. Not kidding. All right. Okay. Makes sense. Thank you, Carmen, for looking that up or for knowing that. Thank you. Adults have responsibility for them, for their family, have to work hard and support their children. In an ideal situation, be happy with our family and spend more time doing what they like as a senior, definitely. Stay healthy, talk, relax. Seniors have to keep up a social life. That's very important. That was one of the key things that they had in the documentary, The Blue Zone. Yeah, so, oh, Kalina, you were so sweet. I'm just post that. I'm just going to pin that. I won't say anything. I'll just let it read for itself. You're just sweetie, darling. So Miranda, in my culture, they still raise their grandchildren. So they are very busy. Okay, interesting. And that's in Georgia. So, okay, that's good to know. In Georgia, grandparents are still very active in the lives of their family, which I guess is good because then you stay necessary, you stay needed, you have a purpose. So it's a very healthy thing, actually. Seniors, lifelong learning, managing health. Seniors should be more patient. Seniors have to survive. We need to keep updating ourselves and find ways to stay active, to help young people to take care of the world. Yeah, Exactly. I think seniors need to stay active. Absolutely. So, Kaluna, thank you very much for highlighting that. Maybe if you're just following this and seeing this, you're more than welcome to subscribe to this account. Yeah, if you're cool like everybody else here. So, seniors should be calm and take care. In this case, just take care of their health, often take care of their grandchildren. They are also very sensitive. Kaluta is your greatest fan. She's so sweet to do that. I really appreciate that. Yeah. You're just writing Alessio today and saying to him how absolutely grateful I am for our little paradise here on YouTube. I'm very, very grateful that you all show up every week, and we have a great thing going here. So thank you. Seniors have to find a way to not be grumpy. Yeah, I see it with myself. I'm getting really grumpy. Like things that used to not bother me. Like Peter laughs at me. He's like, "Oh my gosh, Jen, you're so grumpy." And I don't know. I don't know how to stop it. But a lot of things annoy me. And it's growing. The list is growing. It's a lot of dumb things too. So, yeah, I have to work on that, I think. Now we're moving on. Nick, if you're still here, this question is also for you. So we have the topic age and love and marriage. Serena, thank you. You're sweet. So let's see. Poor Peter, joking. I know, right? Totally, Lizette. Poor Peter. He's like, wow. So definitely poor Peter. It's usually not always directed at him. Sometimes, but not always. Let's see. Totally poor Peter. So love and marriage. Here we go. Questions that we've got. Number 1, would you date someone much older or younger than you? Would you? And what's the maximum age gap you would accept? What do you feel the most comfortable with? So I have a problem with people who have emotional regulation problems. If they don't work on this behavior until they are 30, they will keep this forever. And I don't like that when someone vents in their spleen. Their spleen, and so on. Okay, I got it. So you find that people before the age of 30, you don't have complete control over your emotions, but after that, venting there's no excuse for it. Seniors have to start finishing their life gradually. Yeah, to get your business in order. I think that, if you have a lot of stuff and your children don't want it, or you have no one to leave it to start kind of getting rid of it, to figure out who you want to leave things to and that kind of thing, so that when you're no longer here, people are not sad that you're no longer here and having to deal with that. In France, people get married around the age of 28. Okay. There isn't a maximum age gap, in my opinion. I am 34, Carmen says, and I would date someone between 28 and 40. Okay. So you would go 8 years younger and 6 years. Am I doing that right? 6 years younger and 6 years older. All right. I wouldn't date someone much older. The maximum age gap I would accept is 5 to 8 years. Yeah, see, that's kind of Lizette, that's also my comfort zone. I think like 6 years, something like that is nice, because you still have a lot in common with pop culture, with music and movies and things of that nature. So yeah, like Yuki says, my husband is 7 years older than me. Right. So that's also kind of my comfort zone. I wouldn't be interested in someone younger. I don't know why, but there's just something in me that's like, if I hear that someone is younger, it's like, eh. I don't know. It's unfair, because maybe somebody who's younger is really mature and certainly interesting. I would love to be friends, but yeah, I don't know. I hear like younger and I'm kind of like, nah. I don't know why. Can anybody else relate, or am I on my own there? Let's see. Serena's open. Carmen's 6 year plus minus 5 to 8 years for Lizette. I would date someone of my same age or older, but young in spirit. Yeah. And Karina, what's the maximum number that you find, or is there no maximum number? Gracie, hi, darling. I was in a relationship with a man 20 years older, and it was my best relationship. There you go. Okay. I wouldn't date someone younger than me. Yeah, same. I don't know. No. Let's see. So age is not important for Nick. Okay. So our youngest person here in our audience, who cares about age? So Miranda, it depends. In this case, you would just say it depends, or you would say it depends on, and then you would say exactly what it depends on. It would depend on where they lived, or it would depend on, just to be horrible, how much money they had, or it would depend on something of that nature, if they have kids or not, or it just depends. And then some people get married a bit younger, but now I think it's changing. Okay. I prefer older than me, maybe 3 to 5 year age gap. It's nice to feel loved and taken care of. I think that's probably my thing too, where I feel like somehow older equals wiser, which is totally baloney. I mean, that's so not true necessarily, but yeah, somehow my brain is like, I don't know. Okay. I don't care as long as our mental age matches. I don't care about age. Okay, cool, Yuki. I think that's the best way to go. I'm not there yet, but I definitely see what you mean. Depends on the person, but for me, plus 10 is acceptable. Okay. Gracie, younger, not. I don't want to raise more children. Maybe that's also my thing. I don't know, but maybe there's a young person who's extremely mature. I would accept an age gap of 10 years. So Alessio, 10 years younger, 10 years older, which do you mean? Yeah, no problem, Miranda. Jeremy, hey, welcome. I think a gap of 20 years in a relationship can match. Okay. The important thing is the soul. So age is not an issue, it's the soul. So you're on the same page as Yuki and several others. Love has no age, but both people must be adults. Yes. Laws are laws. In Italy, a lot of people don't get married anymore. All right. Agree with Jeremy. The limits are moved, but usually around 30. Okay, I guess this is the age of getting married. We can move on to that question as well. Lizette says maybe at an adult age, a big gap is not too difficult, but I think as a senior, I find it hard. For example, me being 65 with a 75-year-old man, it's not for me. Okay, so all right. So maybe when somebody's a young adult, like 30 to 40 would not be such a big deal, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. But when it gets older, then for you, that kind of is when it becomes an issue. All right, let's see. I agree with Yuki. My boyfriend is 20 years younger. All right. But you cannot see that difference. He's my mature, graying old man. But what about his spirit, Renata? I can't hide my wrinkles. So older ones are easier to be with who I am. I am without hiding them. Itoka, you have no wrinkles. You look amazing. I've seen you in person. Silly lady. Age gap in relationships is one stereotype we have never known. Okay, so age gap is a stereotype. I don't know. I mean, I know that other people that I know have been in relationships with people that are much younger, like 15 years younger, 20 years younger. And there is this point where there are certain things you can't relate to with that person. But maybe being with a much younger person introduces you to new things that someone that's closer to your age wouldn't be able to. Maybe there's kind of this, yeah, it depends. Why not younger, Miss Jen? May I know, please? Nick, I don't know. I think I need some psychological help here. I don't really know. I feel like somebody said earlier that they feel somehow protected by the wisdom or something of someone older. And I think that's it. I'm not quite sure. I can't tell you. The more we get older, the less we feel the age gap, because percentage of the age gap feels smaller. That's so true, Yuki. I prefer 20 years older than 20 years younger. Same. Hello to you, Victor. Hello to you. While watching Nell. Hey, from While Watching Nell on Learn English Parents British. Neil or Nell? I'm not sure. Hello to you. Hello. Hello to you, Ajmal. Welcome. We have some new people popping into our lesson. That's awesome. I agree with Gracie. All right. I think because we have boy kids, that we don't want to be with someone younger. Maybe that's also it. Yeah, that's a very good point. Let's say no children anymore than it could be 10 years older or younger. Okay, so Alessia, you're staying at the age, you're staying with the number of children that you have today, that they have today, no more children, then it doesn't matter if it's 10 years older or 10 years younger. I think that's what you mean. I get that because children do play a big role with these massive age gaps for sure. If one wants one or one doesn't, yeah. The age matter and the money. Age matters and money as well. I have younger friends. My friends also say they wouldn't have known that I'm older when they get to know me. They say you're staying 25 forever. I hope so. Is spirit. All right. So let's see. So I'm going to move on. Thank you very much for everyone for answering this. If you want to add actually the average age that people get married in your culture, you can. When I was younger, people got married at around the age of 24, 25 in the South, because I come from the South originally. In bigger cities, it was older. I got married in 2000. So I was 28. 28. Yes, I think. 28. I was 28. So that's kind of, I think that's probably kind of average-ish. In my country, weddings are vanishing into thin air. Nobody wants to get married. Too much accountability. Yeah. I don't know if I would get married nowadays. Like everybody asks me, when are you and Peter going to get married? We've been together for over 9 years. We have an amazing relationship. But to be quite honest, I really feel like I'm so grateful we're not married. Every day we wake up and we're like, I choose you, and so it's not this like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe when you have children, there's more of this feeling of needing to be married, but I don't feel that anymore. Kind of like been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Actually, I didn't even get a t-shirt. So yeah, anyway. Moving on. I have a poll for us. I hope somebody in our audience is from Kazakhstan and can tell us if this is true or not. I don't think I mind age, but if my son says he was dating someone that was 20 years older, I would go crazy. Hitoka, that's a totally different element here. Thank you for adding that. So yeah, if our children would date someone 20 years younger or 20 years older or 10 years older or 10 years younger, what would you think? Very interesting direction to take that in. Thank you. Yeah. If my son is 24, if he was dating a 44-year-old, yeah, I think it's a little creepy maybe. I mean, depends on the relationship, but I definitely would be skeptical at first. For sure. I get your point. Thank you, Hitoko. People are afraid of getting married because they no longer believe it can last a lifetime. Definitely. Usually late 20s and early 30s get married. For me, this was an ideal age, but what most matters to me is I should be financially stable and spiritually ready. Amen, Kaluna. And sure of my feelings and intentions for sure. Lizette in Colombia. I think the average age is 20 to 30. That's a big gap as well. So, but now I see that people are waiting to get married until after 30. I don't know if I'm wrong. Okay. Japanese ladies used to be considered, Japanese lady used to consider must get married. So it used to be considered for Japanese ladies to be married by 25. Nowadays, around 30, I'm not sure. Okay. Oops, hold on, I've lost. Okay, thank you, Yuki. Carmen, I would love you to get married. I would cry. I would be your photographer. You sure would. So the wedding I'm never going to have, Carmen, you are absolutely the photographer. You're hired. Yeah, so we always play this game, like the wedding that we will never have is ... So yeah, let's see. So the first one, gap, men, women, gap is a few and far between, but men are growing and blossoming. I'm not sure I know what you mean. It sounds very poetic. Manuel, help me out, please. I prefer a partner who is around my age. Yeah, a little older, like about 6 years older. What I have with Peter is perfect. He's older, and it gives me comfort somehow. But not so old that he doesn't. We can relate to each other to the same type of music and videos and all kinds of stuff, movies. I got married when I was 25. Now I'm getting divorced at 45. Ah, Lizette, sweetie, hang in there, sweetie. Yeah, I got married at 28 and got divorced at 41. So yeah, I understand. Write me if you need any tips. Martha, yours. So yeah, that's it. And Manuel, she's actually Lizette. It's a little, yeah, confusing there. I prefer a shorter gap, but we can't help handle our feelings, right? Sometimes we feel different things. And Gracie, you said you felt very comfortable, best relationship with someone that was 20 years older. Maybe you can explain why it was better. This is such a great topic. We're like not moving anywhere forward, but this is like its topic of its own. My first love was my mom's friend, my teacher. Is it weird? Really? Not weird, but I mean, certainly different. How old was she? You said 22, I think. So did she love you as well? Does your mom know? I mean, I have so many questions, Nick. Help me out. I got married at the age of 33. I met my husband when I was 31. I was lucky not to get married earlier. My husband is the best, obviously, in my opinion. Super. Yeah, and I think that my issue, and Lizette, I don't know when you met your husband or your ex-husband. I met mine when I was 21, and that's way too young, my opinion. I had no clue about myself, and that was just way too young. All right. Mankind currently is a game changer altogether. Aha, okay. So not dealing with women and men, mankind in general. Thank you for the clarification. Juan Carlos, why should there be a specific age to get married? After 18, it could be whenever. Sure, yeah. Yes, 5 to 6 years older can work. Yeah, that's a comfortable little gap, I find. Nick, this happens, but not so, oops, so sorry. I lost it. Letizia, darling. Nick, this happens, but it's not common, so it might seem weird. Yeah. I guess nowadays people get married in their 30s or around 30ish. But in my opinion, the right decision is when your children are 18 years old. If you overcome all the problems together, then it is time to celebrate. Yes, but not younger. Jen, you have unleashed passions on this issue on marriage. This is a great topic, seriously. I mean, we're just going to roll with this. This is amazing. I think y'all unleashed it, and I love it. I don't mind getting married again, even Sharon Stone. Wait, hold on. I don't mind getting married again, even Sharon Stone were my younger partner. So if Sharon Stone was your partner, you would get married again. Hope they are not watching this live. Oh my gosh, Nick, me too. Oh my gosh. All right. So let's see. And are you still friends with your first love? Are you still in contact? How did that end? Did that end okay? Did it end sort of amicably in like a way where you just decided it doesn't work? I hope so for you and for her. Keep in mind, the love of your life lasts 9 months, no more. Absolute real. Oh, come on. Don't do that. Manuel, no. Delete, delete, delete. Way longer. I am 9 years into my relationship, and I love my guy like it's the first day. I absolutely adore him. He's the best. So no. You've not met the right person. Serena, I totally agree with you. Your life. I met him when I was 22. So yeah, Lizette, we were too young. What do we know? We didn't know anything. I wonder how can someone know if it is love or just admiration? I think you have to know yourself. And you mean like if somebody loves you for real, you have to watch how they behave around other people and see how they behave. Because a lot of times, if it's just admiration, they'll only be nice to you and not to other people. But if someone is genuinely nice to other people and they're also super nice to you, then that's a good sign. That's definitely a good sign. That's one. Maybe we can start a new conversation on that topic too. Help Kaluna, please. How can she know when it's really love or just admiration? Close friends put them together. They are the enemy number one for a wedlock. I am not sure. Nothing is permanent. That's true. Nothing is permanent. That's why every day when I wake up and I'm madly in love, I'm grateful for it. Who knows? Never had a boyfriend. No laughing. We need to find somebody nice for you. If it's love, you feel safe verbally and physically. You feel at home whenever he or she is around. Love that, Carmen. Great, great. Oh, Manuel, haha. Maybe one day you will fall in love again. Exactly right. Kaluna, when you stay there for him in the most difficult moments, that's love. And when he's there for you in the most difficult moments. So yeah, when you have this reciprocal thing, if it's a one-way street, no, it's not love. It's maybe not even admiration. It might be very toxic, but yeah. She even loved my present girlfriend. She loves your present girlfriend. Good. Well, I'm happy for you, Nick. This sounds like it was a kind of a nice situation for you both. Okay, I hope she has someone new as well. Maybe someone who's more her age and can relate to a little bit, but yeah. All right, so let's move on. We're moving to Kazakhstan, unless anybody else throws up something more about this, but this is a very cool topic for us. I have to figure out a way that we can do some live streams about this because it's certainly interesting, to say the least. And where on earth am I here? I think things are out of order. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to hop over to here. So, in Kazakhstan has banned the sale of which product to people under 21? I love is always the best topic. It totally is. And we could talk about it every week. But you get bored of hearing stories about Peter, for sure. So you all would have to add a lot more to it. So Kazakhstan has banned the sale of which product to people under 21? A, sugary snacks, B, energy drinks, or C, cigarettes. And what do you think about this? What do you think? She is a pro for sure. No, she doesn't. Oh, poor thing. Natalia's guessing B. Thank you for keeping us on track here. Energy drinks. Hitoko's going for B. Kaluna, my heart told me this is the person. Oh, yeah. Yes. Great advice for Kaluna. No, I have never get bored of these stories. I agree with Kaluna. All right. So B or C, C, B. Lorena's going with C. Renata's going with C. What else have we got here? Renata. Oh, that was that. Lizette is C. Alex B. All right. So the answer is energy drinks B. So Kazakhstan has banned the sale of energy products or energy drinks to people under the age of 21. Cigarettes, and I think that's a great decision for health. But unfortunately, in this situation, I guess 18. I don't know, to be quite honest. Let's take a look and see let's see when you can legally smoke in Kazakhstan. And what do you think about this? Do you think that this is okay to ban energy drinks till the age of 21? Or what do you think? Kazakhstan legal age to smoke. Let's see what it says. Do you think that's okay if your country were to do that? So they raised it. Haha. Okay, hold on. We have two correct answers here. So in Kazakhstan, the legal age to purchase tobacco products, including cigarettes, was raised from 18 to 21. So energy drinks are more like those Monster drinks or Red Bull or stuff like that has all of this stuff in it that raises your energy levels. So it's actually C. Whoever guessed C, you're also correct. So energy drinks and cigarettes, they're not allowed to smoke. They're not allowed to drink energy drinks under the age of 21. It is perfect to ban that poison for young children. Let's see. Yeah, they should be banned for people under the age of 21. It is bad for the heart and the development of young people. Okay, just wanted to check that out. And If you have anything that is banned in your country that you can think of till 21, could be okay, those 3. Yeah, kind of, right? Sugary snacks, though? I mean, I need my chocolate. I wouldn't wanna wait till 21 to eat chocolate. I think they should be banned in general. Energy drinks and sugar and energy drinks and cigarettes should be banned, okay? So let's see. And moving on to our next one, because this kind of in keeping with things that should be allowed or not allowed, I'm going to hop over to here. Let me remove this and add our next thing because I want to see what you think the legal age should be with these different items. Drugs should be banned. Totally agree. They're unhealthy. Okay, so I have a couple of other things that I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And here it is. All right. So, or which age actually that you should be able to do this. Okay. So the legal age to drive. When do you think the legal age to drive should be? In the States, it's typically 16, but if you live in rural areas, then sometimes it's like 14 years old. I'm going to see which state has the youngest driving license when it's legal. Supplements can gain muscle, should also ban. Okay. Okay. So, yes. So, which kind of supplements would that be? It's 15 in France. Thank you. In Italy, it's 18. And Leticia, do you think that 15 is okay or is that too young? What do you think? So, which state can you start driving the earliest? I want to say it's like 14 in some in the USA, but I think it's too young. Okay, in Italy, it's 18, and that's okay. In Germany as well, it's 18. It's 18 to drive. Okay, here we go. So the state in which the earliest legal driving age is in the US is 14. You can get a restricted permit. So in North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, South Dakota, 14. At 14. Gosh. That's crazy. But I guess they have such big distances. Nobody lives around them. It's so completely rural. Here it's 17. Okay, that's in Argentina. 18. Okay, 18. 16 is too young. I think so too, Renata. But I think that the car industry has such a strong, like, let's get people on the road. We want to sell cars. So 15 to 16 is too young. 18 for all of them. Okay. And what about getting a tattoo? Because, like, at which age should it be legal for a child or a person to get a tattoo? Because my son came to me, I'm sure I've told this story before, but he was like 16 and he's like, Mom, I really want to get a tattoo. But in Germany, you have to be 18, I think, because he came and asked me. And so I was like, sure, you can get a tattoo, but I get to decide your tattoo. And it's going to be Mom is the bomb. And that killed that. So he no longer wanted a tattoo. I'm driving from a rural area and I learned to drive at 11. Wow, Juan Carlos. Cool. And have my license until by the time I was 15. Yeah, I think if you live in rural areas and you work on farms and you work in this sort of situation, there's a practicality to also being able to help out to be able to have a license. Leticia, you can get a tattoo in France at any age, even as a child. No. So like a 10-year-old could go in and get a tattoo? No age limits for tattoos. Okay, no, so you don't think so. Okay, good question. I think they should be tested on responsibility, mental aspects at the age of 18 for getting a driver's license. Get a tattoo 18 in Italy. I wish I had a tattoo. Nick, what would you like to get? Which tattoo? They will regret that tattoo maybe. Yeah, I think so. My kids both say they want to get a tattoo, but I'm like, I don't know. Imagine how many times you've changed your opinion in life. My daughter, she changes every month the things that she likes. And then she has a dolphin, and then she suddenly hates dolphins. And then when she's 18, it looks like a sad octopus, or 80. I don't know. 18, I would say 18 for all of them. Okay. In Colombia, I've seen 12-year-olds driving in rural, remote areas. Yeah, but I get that. Somehow, like in remote areas, maybe where there's no one around, that I can understand. But 12 is young. 11 is young. There is a regulation for tattoos in Japan because tattoo itself is a taboo here. That is a symbol of the Yakuza, which was Japanese mafia. And Yuki, how has that changed? Because tattoos have become so common in cultures. Has that changed this taboo element? Has that changed at all in Japan? Very curious about that. And moving on to using social media. At which age should children be able to use social media? For a tattoo, I think that you are young. You need the authorization of your parents. Yes, I think so too. In some jobs, like in banks, my country, they don't hire people with tattoos. Really, Gracie? Okay. Wow. Okay. Because I mean, that's very conservative. Like, I think if you can hide it, if you work in a bank and you can hide it, then maybe that's okay. But the mentality around tattoos has changed a lot over the years. But I just think kids will regret it one day. Do you have a tattoo? I don't. I wanted to get one when I was in college. So back in the 90s, that was when it started to be kind of cool to get a tattoo. And I would always tell my dad, I'm going to get a tattoo. And he's like, don't you dare. And I could never decide. So that worked to my favor. So now at 53, I don't want one. And I'm glad I didn't get one because I'm like my daughter, we just change our opinions all the time about things. So, all right. So social media, what do you think? At which age should you be allowed to use social media? I'm going to look and see which country has the highest age in which you can use social media. What is your personal opinion? Or if you also know in your country, you can share that as well. So which country has the highest age restriction on social media usage? So, and Nick, what did you want to have as a tattoo? You said you wanted to get one. Tattoos are not good for the body. Getting a tattoo at 16 or 17. Where do you live? She lives in Argentina. Yeah. So where am I here? Hold on. It's still taboo. Okay. If you have a tattoo, you can't use a public spa, pool, or public hot spring. Wow. And Yuki, what about foreigners that come to your country that have tattoos? Are they also not allowed to use these public facilities? Does that carry over to also people that are not Japanese? Wow, very interesting. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Yuki. Facebook allows you when you're 17, but people create fake profiles. Yeah. I hope that whoever gets a tattoo does it because they really like it and not because it's trendy, right? Like in the 90s when it became popular, so many women got the Pamela Anderson barbed wire thing. Yeah. I mean, and to have that today, I hope you still like it if you do have that. But I could imagine that at some point someone's like, I don't want this anymore, I live in Patagonia in Argentina. We need the use of social media to be regulated. Okay, we need that. We have no restrictions on the usage of social media. It depends on the parental option. Okay, or opinion. Bukala put them in prison with tattoos. I don't know what that means. Help. Thanks, Gracie. I hope to go there. Love to see. It's a beautiful place. So, Miranda, there are so many bad things that happen on social media for children, comparison with perfect influencers and so on, but not so if it's restricted here. Yeah. Bukala and Salvador investigate people with tattoos. Okay. All right. At least, yes, at least they have to hide with bandages. Aha, or swimsuits. Okay, so folks, if you have a tattoo and you go to Japan, thank you, Yuki, for informing us, then you will need to cover it if you want to go to a public spa or anything like that, to a swimming pool or anything, because it's taboo there. So, I mean, what do you do if you have them on your face and you have like the entire body? I guess you have to wear maybe you have to wear like a neoprene type of thing, like to go into the water, a wetsuit. Are there regulatives, some ages, boundaries for you? So I'm looking. Aha. So here we go. The country with currently the highest official age restriction for creating social media accounts is Australia. Starting December 2025, people under 16 will no longer be allowed to open social media accounts, or they will fake it. Probably. Let's see about ages. Bukele is the president of Salvador. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know. Thank you. If I had to pick up one of them and force it at 18, I would choose social media. In my opinion, they are really dangerous. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I agree with you, Alessio. Social media as of the age of 18. Totally. Social media can be accessed from the age of 18. Sometimes people with tattoos find it harder to enter military, police, etc. I saw foreigners have funny Japanese kanji character tattoo, such as toward hot means soy sauce. Okay, that's so funny. So, Hitoko, do you think that somebody got a Japanese tattoo and that they got the characters wrong and it ended up meaning something totally incorrect? That could happen, right? Like, how would you know? Okay, if I ever get a tattoo and it says something in Japanese, I'm coming to you, okay? So I think tattoos are still a taboo in some countries, and they are associated with crime or gangs. So lovely landscape and nature. I think you should have to be 18 to use social media. Maybe in that case, you can book a private bath. Right, exactly. If you're like head to toe tattoos. No worries. I know for restrictions about content, but age restrictions, I don't know. Early, it was forbidden to hire a person to be a policeman with a tattoo, but nowadays everything has totally changed with many policemen with tattoos, right? I see in the West, at least, the culture around tattoos has changed dramatically. It's not a taboo anymore. Many people have them. I still personally wouldn't want one, but I can understand that people do this. They get a tattoo, they reach a milestone in life and feel the need to do that. Thanks, Yuki. I didn't know that. I'm lucky I don't have any tattoos. Yep. Bukele, I hope I'm saying that name correctly, removed all drug dealers in Salvador. It was a terrible country, and now it is very safe. And Salvador, is that El Salvador? Okay, so moving on. Thank you, guys. We have such amazing participation today. It's absolutely wonderful. So we could kind of go on for forever, but we still have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things to do. And I took out the whole generation thing because I think that will be a very fun live stream on its own to talk about who's a boomer, who's Generation X, and all of those kinds of things. So in a couple of months or in a month or two, we'll do something on the generation talk. The different generation categories. I see so many children watching tablets in their pram. It's not healthy. That is such the norm. It scares me to death. I think that's so horrible for kids. I mean, I try to not be judgmental, but I'm very judgmental about that. It's not judgmental. I'm worried. I think, it's horrible. Kids should be there and have to deal with boredom and play with toys and to not be fed stuff and create their own ideas. The option control by parents is a good thing. There are therapeutic tattoos to cover scars. Yeah, totally, right? Like drawing nipples after removing breast cancer, for sure. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Me too. I hate to see this. El Salvador, interesting story.
El Salvador. Yes, very interesting story. I need to look that up and see, because it's rare that you have a situation where they are able to get rid of the drug dealers and the crime. So that's a wonderful thing. Social media is dangerous. It can shape a young mind in many ways. Couldn't agree more. There's nothing more beautiful than a body without marks. That's why I don't like tattoos. Okay, to each his own. So let's see. So let's move on. And where are we headed? We are going to take a look at some phrasal verbs. And again, like I said, I really appreciate everyone's amazing participation today, as always, but especially today. And let me see, let me find our next slide, number 8. And I'm going to pop over to this side of the screen. And let's see. All right, so here we go. We have our phrasal verbs here, which some of these are definitely repeaters. We have to, is this cut off the screen, or can you see it okay? I think you can, I hope you can see everything okay. One is to look back on, 2, live up to, 3, pass away, 4, settle down, 5, bring up. And our definitions right below: to mention or talk about something, to be as good as people expect, C, to die, D, to remember and think about something from the past, E, to start living a quieter, more stable life. Miranda's already popping in with 1 is D. Who else agrees with Miranda? So Lorena's saying 1 is B. Look back on. So D, D, D. Correction. Social media is difficult. I think it's necessary to learn internet literacy from a young age with parental control. Definitely. But I think that, Yuki, my problem with this is when you have a kid who's sitting in their stroller or driving in a car with their parents and they're glued to watching a movie or cartoons. I don't see that being a good thing for humanity, to be quite honest. All right, 1D. And if somebody has a different opinion, please share it with me. Convince me I am wrong. But digital literacy, definitely. Anyway, okay, everyone's saying 1 is D. So yes. Look back on, D, to remember and think about something from the past, right? So if we look back on our childhood, if we look back on, things from long ago. Thank you, Natalia. 2, she's saying, is B. Who agrees with Natalia? Miranda does. Kaluna does. All right, Lorena. So, all right, so 2, to live up to. We have B, and that is to be as good as people expect. You live up to people's expectations, which is not necessarily a great thing if you put pressure on yourself to do that, but sometimes it's nice. If somebody lives up to your expectations, it's wonderful, right? So I think, Kaluna, you were asking about how do you know if somebody just admires you or if they really love you. Maybe in this case they live up to your expectations, but in a realistic way. So Miranda, Serena, Alessio, Yuki, Kaluna, Leticia, Natalia, all are saying Lorena. 3 is C. Karina saying that, and so is Shaun. Welcome on board, or Valid, maybe. Alex is saying C. So exactly, pass away is C. To die. So it's a nice way of saying that someone died. My grandfather passed away in 1993. I can also say my grandfather died in 1993. It's just a slightly nicer way of saying that. All right, Lorena's keeping us on track. Settle down. She's saying 4 is E. Michaela, Miranda, Alex, Kaluna, Leticia. Okay, everybody's saying these are all very easy. Okay, so 4, settle down. E, to start living a quieter, more stable life. So quite often when someone gets married, we say they're ready to settle down, or they settled down, meaning that they're no longer single and out there living the wild life. I guess, I don't know. Lorena, and last but not least, you're absolutely correct. 5 is A. Bring up, A, to mention or talk about something. Which actually, that is one definition for this phrasal verb. I should have the last but not least 5 is A. Exactly.
So the thing is that I should have used a different definition. This is one definition. So there's two definitions for the phrasal verb bring up, is to mention something, to talk about something. But also what I should have used, what I wanted to use, was bring up, meaning that you raise a child, you bring up a child, you raise a child, you teach them what is right and what is wrong, you bring up a child. And that would fit our topic slightly better. So a little mistakey, oops. And yeah, moving on. So we have some questions now about family. Let's see if they're going to be as relatable as our ones about love. And let's see, here we go. Number 10. And I'm going to pop back over to here. So yes, Yelena, 3 is C. You are correct. All right. Oop, what is this? This is, yes. No, wrong. Hold on. We need 9. Excuse me. That's coming in just a minute. So let's see. And hold on. There we go. Okay. Maybe I could say that it's love when I believe him that he could reach the moon for me, even if it's impossible. Yeah, maybe. I think you can get in trouble with that because that puts a lot of expectation on that little fella, that puts a lot of expectation on him. But yeah. But I think that you should have high expectations. You should have things in your mind and to know yourself well enough to know the things you want in your life and what you don't want. The more, Kalina, you have a clear picture of the kind of partner you want to have, the more likely you will be able to spot that and know that when you see the person or when you meet the person. All right, moving on to family. Number 1. What are some advantages to being close in age with your siblings? You can play with your siblings in this case. Yeah, right? You can play with your siblings. I was close in age with my sister, and this was a bit of a disadvantage because she would always steal my clothing. It drove me crazy. So sometimes it's bad when they're too close in age. When there's a bit of a gap, then you have things for yourself, but you have to share. You can have similar interest. You have a very high expectation and know your worth. I believe in you, Miss Jen. Thank you, Kaluna. So you can have similar interests. You are going through the same difficulties together, very good ones. So you can play with each other. You're going through similar things, so you understand what it's like to go through that situation. Potentially similar interest. Other advantages, if you're a nice sister, unlike I was, you can share clothing and it's not a big deal. But I was a brat. I was not very cool. So I didn't want to share my things with her. But maybe if you have a cooler sister, then that can be a case, or a brother. Maybe you can, do homework together. Ooh, I'm running out of battery. Why is that not working? All right. What about with number 2? So what are some advantages? Be a master in boxing. Yeah. My brother used to do the most horrible thing. This is so 80s. I don't think this happens anymore in families anymore, but my brother would do this, where my sister was a year and a half younger, and then my brother was 6 years older, and he loved to be in control of the situation between the two of us, between my sister and myself. And so he would tell my sister, he would say, Jennifer says you're stupid. And then he would go to my sister and say, Darcy, Jennifer says you're ugly. Or like he would say, Jennifer, Darcy says that you're fat. He would do these things. And then he's like, okay, we're going to box now. So he would put socks on our hands and he would make us box each other and he would referee. That could only happen in the 80s, I think. So that was kind of my growing up, my brother kind of doing things to get my sister and I to want to kill each other. And the first question, you grow up together, you become close, and you share the good and the bad. Same circle of friends, same friend circle. Brothers and sisters, my brothers and sisters are 15 years older than me. It's like I was an only child. Yeah, that happens too, right? You can be
you can be there for each, you can be each other's ears to listen to and shoulder to lean on, and a partner in crime. I'm not convinced it's a good thing to be close in age with a sibling. Me and my sister are close. Oops, sorry, in age. I lost you, Carmen. Hold on. But she was totally had it. She's has a totally different character. We've never been besties. She is so moody. So that can happen too, where it can become either that you have nothing in common, but that could also be with an age gap, or you become competitive with each other. Younger one can also get new clothes. I only had secondhand clothes from my 5-year-old sister. Okay, yeah, so you got the hand-me-downs. I'll write that down. So clothes that are given from one sibling to another are called hand-me-downs. So you literally hand them down to someone else. You give them to the next person. Hand-me-downs. And if your sister didn't have cool style, in 5 years difference, oh, yucky. Yeah, hand-me-downs. You got hand-me-downs. So let's see. I'm 8 years older than my brother, and I took care of him when my parents were out. And Natalia, did you like doing that? Was that something that felt like a nice responsibility, or like something that you didn't necessarily want? I know what you meant, Yuki. I'm an only child. I was the victim of wrestling with my brother. So, my brother would sit on me and fart in my face. It's disgusting. But that was the 80s. That's what happened. Nowadays, probably, I don't know, I could have reported him. Your brother had fun. He sure did. He had a blast. Advantage to have a wide age gap. You can have someone to guide you and share lessons based on their knowledge, their experience. That's true. If you have a good relationship, for sure. My 2 sisters are 15 and 16 years older. They were light years apart. Now we're older and we get along. That happens too. For example, I guess for number 2, younger sibling is protected by older sibling. You can be close friends too. The Ollie, I don't know what that means. I'm not sure. Hand-me-downs, exactly, hand-me-downs. That's the clothing that you get from an older sibling or someone else. They're not yours, they're not new, they are the hand-me-downs. I'm 4 years older than my brother. I wasn't allowed to go to my friends' parties when I was a teenager because I didn't have a big brother or sister to go with me. Lisette. A wide age gap allows you to avoid making the same mistakes as your brothers and sisters. If you're smart and learn from them, right? Totally. If they are close in age, it's much easier for the parents. Definitely. Done with it once. Maybe not though. Maybe unless when they're babies, to have like 2 kids in diapers, that can be a bit of a nightmare. So maybe in the beginning not, but later on, maybe yes. And that is why I wanted my first baby to be a boy. Now I have 2 girls, and they also have a 4-year age gap. Okay, but I'm sure that's still nice. But now you're smiling when you mention that anecdote. Yes, exactly. It was funny. I think if you mean with my brother. Exactly. It leads to good stories. Trauma leads to some interesting stories, right? All right. So some advantages of having a wide age gap between children. Some of you have already answered that. If you would like to answer it, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to some vocab. And here we go. Let's see. All right. So vocabulary words. This is all about growing up. I think this is going to be pretty easy for you. So we'll kind of go through these quickly. If there's anything new, it'd be interesting to hear what is new, actually. And yeah. Oh, no, let me make myself smaller here. Does that help? Oh, I'm chopping off their heads a little bit. Sorry, guys. So we have adolescent. We have 2, childhood. 3, youth. 4, toddler. And 5, puberty. So a couple more messages coming in. Oh, nope. Let's see. Taking care of him touched me to be responsible. disciplined in so many comical situations. Okay, good. I'm glad it was a good experience for you. One is new for you. Okay, cool. Reading really quickly. A, teenager growing up. B, baby learning to walk and talk. C, the early years of a child. D, the time between childhood and adulthood. And E, when a child's body starts to grow and change. If you're much younger, you are the center of attention. True. True, true. 5 is new too. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so 1, we have some people answering. 1 is A. We'll go 1A. Oh, okay, hold on, let me see. Uh-huh. And I have, okay. As well. So 1 could totally be A. If you're, okay, it was that. So what I was actually looking for 1 is D, the time between childhood and adulthood, adolescent age. Yeah. And everyone is saying 1 is A, the teenager growing up. Yeah, exactly, as well. All right. Let me just look really quickly before I tell you some Jenniferish and not English. Adolescent. I looked this up. Age. Because, yeah, adolescent's like 12, right? Aha. So between 10 to 13, between 10 and 19. So this is according to the WHO, the World Health Organization. Sometimes this definition even stretches to 24 years old. So early adolescence, 10. So, and then going on to the age of 19. Jenniferish, yes. What's the difference between A and D? Yeah, exactly. So let's see. So adolescent, 1, please. D. That's right. D makes sense. So the time between childhood from 10 years old to around 19 when you become an adult. And then moving on to 2, and then we'll work our way with A and D. So 2, please. I think somebody already guessed it. Where are you, Jen? I'm actually, Lizette, I'm on Ibiza at the moment. We're here until Monday. Alex is going with 2 is C. Do we have any other guesses for number 2? 1 is D, exactly. So adolescent between 10 and 19. And number 2 for childhood. C. I got a C of C's. Exactly. Okay. So childhood 2, C, the early years as a child. All right. Then number 3, youth. What have we got for 3? We said 1 is D, 2 is C. And what makes sense? 5A makes sense. It does as well, but there's another definition for that. This is misleading to me because adolescent French is a word for teenager. You often use it for teenagers. You do. So that's not wrong because you do have 13 to 19 that is also teenage years, but adolescent reaches further back into the childhood and starts at 10. That's the difference. Okay, so 3 we're saying now is A, exactly. So youth. So the youth is and youth reaches up to the age of 24. I was curious about that. Like, when are you no longer considered youthful? So 24, I guess. So 1 is D, 2 is C, 3 is A. And we said 1 is D, adolescent, the time between childhood and adulthood, starting at 10, going to 19. And 3, the confusion here, 3 is A, as a teenager, then kind of going on to adulthood, growing up, youth. So like a child is not necessarily considered the youth group in a community. That's always for the teenagers. So that's the difference in that. The line is very thin, and you can also use adolescent. Leticia, thank you for pointing that out as well for teenagers. But there's the slight difference in the definitions. Okay, everyone is saying 4 is B, keeping me on track here. Toddlers, B, a baby learning to walk and talk. And yeah, and last but not least, 5, we've got puberty, which is a very funny sounding word, puberty. Did anybody see the movie, is it Inside Out 2 with a girl with all of the emotions in her head. The latest Pixar film that came out, or the Pixar film that came out in the summer or last spring. So yes, 5 is E. She was going through puberty. Yelena, yes, you're right. 3 is A. I think you're behind. I saw the film. It was a great film, right, Serena? It was such a good film. I need to watch that again. It was a lot of fun. 5E, exactly. Love that movie. And so she's going through puberty, right? All the emotions, all the stuff that's going on inside of her. Very moody. Great word that somebody used earlier. So yeah, so I think in regards to their sister. So let's see. So 5, Carmen, that was you, I think. 5E, puberty, when a child's body starts to grow and change. So sticking on the subject of youth, we will continue on. I have a couple of questions to ask you about that. And then we will, because I'm curious, one of these I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. All right, let's see. And I will hop on over to here so I am not in the way. It was a great movie. It's Inside Out, right? I think that's what it's called. And I think I did that with Mike. I think we covered that movie. Inside Out. If you've not seen this film, it's a cartoon, it's a Pixar movie, but it's really great dealing with the topic puberty. Yep, my sister is moody. You'll never know if she's happy, sad, or angry. No. 1 is A. 1 was D. I prefer Inside Out 1. Oh, really? Okay, I liked them both. I liked them equally, I have to say. Okay, so Inside Out is a movie. If you've not seen it, it's a fun movie from Pixar. You can check that out. All right, number 1. Oscar Wilde said, "I am not young enough to know everything." And what do you think that he meant by that? I am not young enough to know everything. Oh, it's a good animation. Yes, it's a great film. Very great film. So, oh, Karina, we still have people guessing. So Karina, 4 is B, absolutely correct. 5 is E. And what do you think that Oscar Wilde meant by this quote? I'm not young enough, to know everything. Where do you think that what he meant by that? What do you think he meant? Exactly, Yelena. 5 is E. Young ones tend to be more curious and learning continually. Okay. All right. And what else can you tell me? Because only young people are amazed by everything and curious about everything. All right. I think you all have a much more positive spin on this than I do. I'm going to see what the bot says, because I feel like he meant something totally different, like more ego driven, like more like, I mean, if you think of teenagers, like if I think of myself as a teenager, we can move to number 2. What were you like at the age of 15? I thought I knew everything. I thought, seriously, you could tell me the sky is blue and I'd be like, no, it's not. It's purple. I would have my own opinion. I had my own opinion about everything. So let's see. Really nice movie. Watched it with my two teens. Yes. Watched it with my daughter as well. Like young, know everything, even when it's not so. That's how I interpret it, Miranda. Same here. That's how I interpret it. Only young people think they know everything. Yeah, that's what I think too. But let's look and see. Hello to you, Mohammed. Because when you're very young, you think that you know everything. You are constantly learning or consistently learning. Maybe mentioned young on some skeptical way. I think so too. Let's see what the bot is saying about this, because for me it feels more like, because I remember how I was, and you could tell me how you were. How were you when you were 15? I'm still a little Mrs. Know-it-all. That's so funny. You want to learn English? You're in the right spot then. What does this mean? I have to hurry a little bit because my computer says I have 3%, but it's in charging, but not. So it's meant to be witty and ironic. Very young people often think they know everything. They're confident, sometimes overconfident, and they don't realize how complex life really is. When people grow older, they gain wisdom, and experience is part of the wisdom. So yeah, so young people think they know everything. It's more because they have this abundance of confidence. The more you know, the less it seems, right? The more you know, the less you know, it feels. Totally. I love the book, The Picture of Dorian Gray. I never read it. I've heard about it. I know the story. Maybe the older one, oh, but that's Oscar Wilde, yes. Maybe the older one doesn't know all because every age era has new things and discoveries. True, very true. You're only this age once. It's your first time, for sure, for sure. Makes sense. I have a feeling I don't know anything. You're welcome to the club. What were you like as a 15-year-old? Tell me what you were like. 3% Leben am Limit. The more you know. Okay, that was that. Oh, I don't want to miss anybody. Young people think they know everything. Exactly. They think that they know everything. Younger generations tend to think they know everything, but as time goes by, we learn that we know actually nothing. Can you please tell me your live timing? Yes, absolutely, Mohammed. I go live every Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. What time is it now? So an hour, 19 minutes earlier than now on Tuesdays with a quiz. And I go live with a lesson like this one every Wednesday at 3 p.m. So an hour and 49 minutes earlier than wherever you are. So if you would like to join our community, you're more than welcome to do so. So change is constant. Serena, yes, it's a great piece of work. When we grow older, we realize that the world is complex and we don't often have all the answers. And we often find we don't need to have all the answers. When I was young, I had to have an answer for everything. But most things don't really have an answer, right? There's a lot of gray zones. Pakistan 7:30, awesome. And hang in here, come and stay with us now and participate, and see you next week as well. It depends on the person, I think, actually, as well. Many older have big egos as well. True. Yeah, age does not necessarily make you a better person or wiser. That depends on how much growth you put into your actual life. Every age has its own interest. The younger, the more opportunities and interest, the elder less. Okay. This reminded me, Leonardo da Vinci, I think, says something opposite. I am X years old and I'm still learning. Okay. Yeah. But I think that in a way, because Oscar Wilde is saying that they think they do, that the ego. And in this case, he's just saying, I'm constantly learning. I'm always learning. So I think if young people didn't have that ego, they would be learning too. Let's see. When I was 15, I could do and dream anything, right? I mean, sky's the limit. When I was 15, I thought everyone was slow to think and stupid, and now I'm the one who's slow. Same, right? They had no clue. They did not know. I was so cool. I was really cool. Oh gosh, so horrible. I was 15 and I was a bit of a rebel. Same here. My daughter is 15. My apologies, dear. I was curious and I thought that I knew everything. Exactly, that happens, right? When you're young and stupid, young and wonderfully stupid. But thank goodness people are that way, because then they try things. I think the older we get, the more we know, the less adventurous we are, because we know, well, if I do this, that won't happen, that won't happen, that will happen, that will happen, because we have more information. But because they don't have that information, they are more willing to try and to just go and do. Commonly, it depends on a person's situation, circumstances. It's so individual. At 15, I was worrying I was becoming an adult. I always wanted to be a child. So you didn't want to grow up. You're like, oh no, this is getting serious. It was hard to be present. It's hard to be present when your kids are 15. For sure. It's a tough age, dear. You get a little extra hug from me because that is a tough age. At my age 15, when I was 15, I was careful to which peer group I should associate myself with. Okay, so Kalina, you were always, even at the age of 15, very introspective and thought about things and what you were doing. I was not. I was all over the place, totally chaotic, making a bunch of mistakes, not learning. Fears are driven by experience. Exactly. The more you know, maybe the less you do to a certain extent. And that's why it's good we have the young people who think they know everything and go for it and sometimes prove us wrong. All right, moving on. Here is a nice little banner question. We're slowly but surely coming to the end of our lesson. Another very long lesson. Thank you for hanging in for so long. Let's see. So, super important question. What do you think is the best age for a political leader? So the best age, I can definitely tell you that 79 and 80, I don't think is the best age for a political leader. Anything in the 80s. I was careful because I lived far away from my parents. Ah, did you go to boarding school? All right. Sending you hugs, Serena. All right. So what do you think is the best age for political leaders? Okay, Juan Carlos is saying 50. We've got 40. What else? Does anybody think that 80 or 75 is a good age? Out of curiosity. 40 to 50, maybe, Carmen, Alessio, 45, or need around 60. Okay, to have a little bit more age under their belt, let's say. All right, Lizette's saying 45 to 60, 45 to 55. I think to be president of the United States, you have to be 40. Do you know about the age restriction in your country? I'm going to take a look really quickly to see. Not 80 for sure, right? Like, no way. Nobody in their like mid 70s. Why? I don't even know why somebody would want that. Late 30s to 40s. Okay, 50, 40 to 60. Maybe necessary to have moral values. No, yeah, maybe age is more important than that. Have morals. All right, I'm going to look really quickly because I think it's 40, 41 in the United States. You have to be that age. How old do you have to be president USA? All right, let's see what the bot has to say. And maybe you know about it for your country. Oh, okay, I was wrong. In the United States, you must be at least 35 years old to become president. So you have to be 35 years old to be president. I thought it was 40. All right. Not older than 70. I think so too. I don't think, why? I think at 53, I wouldn't have the energy for it. I don't know. So yeah, in the United States, you have to be at least 35. If you happen to know what it is in your country, cool. If not, no stress. I just thought it was sort of interesting to know what the restriction was. And we're moving on to some work-related questions. Oops, let me get rid of this. Let me scroll down here. When I was 15, there wasn't as much information as today. That is better. In Colombia, at least 30, about 40. Okay. Yeah. I feel like somehow 40 feels like a good age. 35 for me still feels too young. I think you need to have that life experience. Maybe somebody's really on top of things, but I don't know. I think 40 sounds good somehow. All right, so moving to our last set of questions here and talking about the workplace. All right, 35 is too young. I think so too. In Italy, you have to be a minimum of 50 to be president of the republic. Okay, I think that makes sense. All right, moving on to question number 1, dealing with work. At which age do most people start working in your country? And I guess also my question is, do teenagers work in your country? When I was a teenager in the United States, it was so interesting to have, I really wanted to have a job, and a lot of people I knew worked. We all worked. You had your own money. It was your first chance to have your own money. No one could tell you how to spend it. So I loved working as a teenager. It was the best. In Germany, I don't see so many teenagers working like they do in the United States, or at least they did. I don't know if it's the same anymore. I don't think a 35-year-old will ever win in the USA. I think it depends on how crazy they are. Juan Carlos. Never say never. Yeah, I don't know. All right. So at what age, but in general, like when you get out of school or you've learned a trade, at what age do people typically have to or start to work? I have to go now. Thank you, darling. Hugs, hugs, hugs. Love having you here, Carmen. In France, our current president was elected too young, 39 years old, and it's a catastrophe today in our country. Okay. And do you feel that it's an age thing or a person thing? So over 18 to work in Japan, okay? You're right. Yeah, right. It's crazy. The crazier, the better in the United States. Ugh. I guess between 25 and 28. Okay, in Albania, almost every waiter is younger than 18. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, so being a waiter is a young person's job in Albania. Interesting. Most people work hard at the age of 22, or start working, sorry, at the age of 22. However, high school students can have a part-time job. All right, and is that typical for high school students to have a job? Or is that kind of uncommon? And number two, what is the normal retirement age where you live? 18 in Peru. Okay, so you can start working at 18. Majority when they graduate, but other part start working even earlier according to labor law is permitted to start at 16, I think, if parents permit from 14, but this age there are some restrictions. Yeah, I think like 16, 15, 16 is a good age for a person to be able to have like a teenager job, to work in a restaurant or something like that. Back in my day, I worked my first job was at a video store. That certainly ages me. So like the VHS tapes, the movies, people would come in and they would rent movies. Yeah, great job. But I loved it. It was my own money. So let's see what you have to say. Part-time job in teenagers is not common for us because students spend almost the whole day at school from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. After school, you have to do homework. That is why it is hard to have a part-time job. Makes sense. In France, 25. Let's see. Okay, that's not for retirement. I guess that's to work. Over 18 years old in Colombia, I would like teens between 16 and 18 to work. I would like my 17-year-old girl to have the opportunity to work during vacation. Right, Lizette? That's perfect. They earn money, they're kept busy, they learn something. It was not that common to work as a teenager, but now it's becoming more common. Okay. Part-time job, 18, full-time, 22, 22 to 25. Most of the people, I guess, 67. Okay. We talked a lot about this yesterday. Retirement in 65, 60 years old to retire in Japan. 65 is average retirement age. Before it was 60. Okay. So they have increased it, I guess. 63 for women, 65. We talked a lot about this yesterday. Nick, I started working as a study guide at 19. Okay. And a study guide, do you mean like a tutor? So you would teach people math, or you would teach them English, or you would teach them different things like a tutor. 65. Bye, Jen. Must have been hi, Jen. Must have been a very fun job. People who went there had a fun energy. I had a blast. And I could say, here, check out this movie, or this is horrible. I probably recommended the worst movies too, like 16-year-old attitude or opinions about a movie, but I had fun. And please, people, if you do rent a video, be kind and rewind. Don't make us rewind your movies. So let's see. Yes, you can have early retirement at 60, 65 years old. It's compulsory. In my daughter's school, you have to do 150 hours of work in 3 years. From 15 to 18 years old, it is a scientific school. Aha. So do they have to work in like a laboratory or something like that? Serena, that sounds very interesting. I started to work at the age of 9 helping my mom in marketing. Wonderful, Natalia. That must have been a nice project for the two of you to have together. My husband says 65. I didn't know that. Thank you, Chama, for the correction. See you soon, Michaela, dear. Okay, then let's see. Last question. Do you, wait, hold on. No, I've changed it. What's the difference? What's the difference between younger and older coworkers?
What can you tell me? The difference between younger and older coworkers. So for those of you who work in an office, you know you have coworkers that are the same age, that are older, that are younger. What can you tell me is the difference? Leticia, thank you, my dear. Young people have ideas and they're creative. Older workers have experience of what works and what doesn't and have more patience to solve certain problems. Students find it hard to find part-time jobs because most establishments close at 9 p.m. Yes, so I guess they don't work then. And you said they were in school for such long periods of time. So what can you say? Any other ideas? Younger people are more energetic and productive, but the older people have experience. Older, more experience, more patience. And would you say there's a difference in today's generation in work mentality? Like if I look at my kids, their work mentality is totally different to mine. Like I will kill myself. I have very little work-life balance because I want things to be a certain way. And my kids are more like, I'm not doing that. I'm not working hard for something because I would have more life balance or life quality time than work. So I think I see a difference in the way a lot of younger people do things today. I was more pushing myself, get ahead, make contacts, network, do this job, do that job, build my resume. And it feels like today some kids are way more easygoing about that. Younger workers are more creative and innovative. Older workers are more traditional. Older have more knowledge and experience. Younger have much energy and enthusiasm. Older have knowledge and experience, digital versus analog. Yeah. Younger are more open-minded and willing to go outside of their comfort zone. Interesting. Older people at work always say, I've been working here for a certain number of years. I know how everything, or something like that. Right. I get that. A lot of lecturing. Like, this is the way things are done here. Let's see. Mon mari, employee, beaucoup. Oh gosh, what is this in French? Aha, hold on. My husband employs a lot of young workers and they can't concentrate on one task for long. That makes sense. They're always with their cell phones in their hand. Yes, I see with my son. Like they're not supposed to be on their phones, but if I go and write him on Instagram, it'll be like, last seen 5 minutes ago. And it's like at 10:45. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You can't be on your phone at work. How can that be? But I think it's a generational thing. I think there's just have grown up so much with having a phone that, they don't know how to live without it, even at work. I think it would be tough to be an employer today of younger people of this generation, of Generation Z, I think. Younger people are multitaskers, can be, especially when it comes to being on their phone and working. That's my son's argument always. Like, I could be on my phone and I can work. Juan Carlos, superiority complex. Exactly, right? Totally. So that's a negative thing with older people, I guess. So slowly but surely, folks, we will say goodbye. 2 hours and 3 minutes into our lesson. I cannot believe the 23 of you have hung in here for so long. Thank you so very, very much. If it's not too much to ask, if you can like this video now or this live stream, that would be so awesome because it would be 23 people instantly liking this. And that helps the algorithm to say, this is a cool place to be. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for making this topic for the past 2 days really come to life. I've really enjoyed learning what you have to say about different things. And so thank you very, very much, many of you, for hanging out with me 3 times now in very long live streams. So thank you. Take care, everyone. See you soon. See you next week. Our topic next week is also going to be a nice one. We're going to talk about life lessons. So I think it's next week. Yes. I think I can't find my, yes, next week. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day. Thank you to everyone. Take care and bye-bye.